King Kunta here, guys. I'm back with another video, how-to tutorial, and what we're gonna do here is we're gonna show you today the basic best way to run a Whirlwind barb. So let's get right into it without further ado. Basically, what I'm going to outline in this video is I'm going to outline skills that you're going to want to use, gear that you're going to want to use, and tactics on how to use it. So, let's start off with our skills. For your left click, you're going to want your Ancient's Fury. Call of the Ancients, Ancient's Fury rune, sorry. This will gain Fury for you. This will be your Fury gainer, so you're not completely depleting yourself with your Whirlwind. And the reason why I keep it as my left click and not one of my buttons is simply because it'll allow you to use it as a basic move, just to move around once you've popped it. Yeah, so it's easier to run around with instead of like accidentally casting Whirlwind when you're trying to just move around. Right click, you're going to want Whirlwind with Blood Funnel, so critical hits are restoring your life, which is very important for this build so that you can keep giant waves of shit on you without having to panic about dying. Number 1 button is we're going to use Warcry with Impunity, so that's obviously going to increase your damage resistance to all types. Battle Rage with Bloodshed, so critical hits will cause nearby enemies to explode, which is very good. It helps in large groups. Wrath of the Berserker with Insanity, so obviously it's going to be increasing our damage, which is really important for when there's tons around us. We're going to use Overpower with Momentum, and that is going to be another Fury generator, so generate Fury by each enemy hit by Overpower. So our passives right here, we'll walk you through them. Ruthless, obviously you're going to deal 40% damage to enemies below 30% health. It doesn't seem like it helps, but it really does. Like when you're almost done killing a mob and it drops below 30%, it's pretty much dead. Like you can not worry about it anymore after that. Nerves of Steel. Fatal damage instead reduces you to 15% life. For 3 seconds afterward, you take 95% reduced damage and are immune to control impairing effects. So just like my Demon Hunter build, this is going to help you in case you get low enough to die. It's going to let you not die, and this can only be used once per minute. We're going to use Weapons Master, so no matter what you use, what type of weapon you use, you're still going to be getting a great boost. So swords and daggers are 8% increased damage, which is awesome. Maces and axes, 5 crit chance, which is awesome. Pole arms and spears, 8% increased attack speed, which is pretty good. And mighty weapons will give you fury per hit, which is pretty awesome if you're going to use the Bull Cathos swords, which I'll show you what I mean in a second. And Rampage, increase strength by 1% for 8 seconds after assisting and killing an enemy. This effect stacks up to 25 times. So you don't have to kill the enemy. You can just be around, you can put one hit on them, you can just do some support, like it doesn't matter. And at 25 stacks, that's really fucking awesome. You're just melting things at 25 stacks. So we'll show you some gear. What you're going to want to use for gear, I don't exactly have the weapon that I want to use right now. I'm just using any ancient legendary that I picked up just for the damage. So you're going to want your waists gear, so pauldrons of the waist, helm of the waist, chest of the waist, legs of the waist, feet of the waist. So 5 set. We're going to use our ROG or RORG for this one, Royal Ring of Grandeur, so that we can double our sets. And the reason for that is we're going to use our waists, obviously, for the whirlwinds, like the little tornadoes that we're going to get, dust devils, and the increased whirlwind damage reduction and things like that. but we're also going to want at least a 2 set of the Immortal Kings so that we can keep our Ancients alive until they die. And that's important because, like I said, our Ancients are giving us Fury every time they hit or deal damage. So, without further ado, I'll just go into some depth. On your shoulders, you're going to want to roll Whirlwind if you can. Chest, you're going to want to roll Whirlwind if you can. Helmet, roll Whirlwind. Just basically roll Whirlwind on anything you can. We're also going to use our Reaper's Wraps. So we're going to be getting Fury every time we get a health globe, which is very important. We can't run out of Fury with this build or else you die. And I mean that in the most literal sense. You will die if you run out of Fury. And I stacked Physical on it, because most of the attacks you're going to use are physical. Physical Whirlwind, Physical Overpower, Ancients are doing physical damage. For your rings, like I said, you're going to want the Royal Ring of Grandeur, just so you can stack both sets. And typically the weapon you're going to want to use is an Immortal King's weapon, Ancient, but those are difficult to find, so I'm just using this for now. And you're going to want to use a Skull Grasp. And the reason being for the Skull Grasp, there's a lot of controversy around the Skull Grasp, because some people say that it doesn't help you that much, but I find that it does. You're going to increase your Whirlwind damage by up to 400%. A perfect one will have 400% increased weapon damage for Whirlwind. So it's not multiplicative, or it won't multiply, but it is addition. So let's say our Whirlwind here is delivering 340% weapon damage. This is going to add to that. So 336 plus 340, there you go. You have your 676, I think, yeah. 676% instead of 340%, which obviously is the world of difference. So I don't understand why people say that they don't want to use those. A really important gem for you to use is the Gogok of Swiftness. So you're going to gain 75% chance to gain Swiftness, increasing your attack speed by 1% for 4 seconds. This effect stacks up to 15 times. You're going to want to level it to 15, or 25, sorry, so that you gain the 1% cooldown reduction per stack, so you can keep popping Wrath of the Berserker and Overpower and everything that helps you out. For Amulet, it's really not like that important which amulet you use. A lot of people use the Haunt of Vaxo just for the clones and shit like that. I personally am using the Mara's Kaleidoscope just so it'll reduce all poison damage and heal yourself for 13% of the amount prevented, because everything in a Greater Rift is going to use poison. Like 90% of the mobs in a Greater Rift is going to use poison, and like 85% of the bosses use poison attacks. So it's really important if you're going to want to run, Greater Rifts. So without further ado, I'll get into it and I'll show you exactly how you're going to want to run this build. Let me get some keys, and I will run a rift for you.
I wish you luck, hero.
Okay, so I'm gonna pop your Warcry and Battle Rage and run through everything. Make sure to pop your Ancients, I almost just forgot. And whirl your way through everything. Make sure those Dust Devils hit. The Dust Devils are going to spawn and track in the direction that you're whirlwinding. So if I'm whirlwinding this way, they're not going to go any other way. Like, they're not going to split off, they're not going to do anything. So you're going to want to just whirl the way that you're meaning for your Dust Devils to go. Okay, so you basically don't ever have to stop with your Ancients up and your Overpower that you're using every once in a while. You don't ever have to stop whirlwinding, which is absolutely imperative that you do. Like, once you stop, you're pretty much dead. That's why I say that you can't run out of Fury. If you run out of Fury, you're dead with this build. So you're basically just gonna run through like this. You can stay whirlwinding for absolutely ever, as long as your ancients are up and you're using overpower as much as you can. If you get really in a pinch for Fury, you can use your War Cry. It'll give you 20 really quick. It just helps you out. Say if your ancients die and you can't pop them yet, you're waiting on your ancients. If you're ever waiting on your ancients, just always use your overpower. Always use your War Cry, and you'll be totally fine. It may get a little bit harder, but you'll be totally fine. Now, like I said, for weapons, you're definitely going to want to use your Mortal King's weapon, and you're going to want to try your hardest to find an ancient. Obviously, it's not something you can control, but you're not going to want to settle for much less. That's why I'm just using an ancient bovine halberd right now. Bovine bardiche, sorry. Just because it's ancient and gives me a half-decent amount of damage. Like, I'm only doing 1.5 mil right now, but that's more than ample damage for running rifts and being supportive in greater rifts. I can run up to 40 with this by myself. I can run close to 45 with other people, and my role with other people is I'll just pull everything. I'll be running ahead, running my whirlwind, doing my thing, exactly what I'm doing right now, just pulling everything basically. And it's absolutely remarkable how fast you can just melt everything with this build. It's very easy. A monkey could do it. Hold a button, you pick your direction, and you melt everything in your path. It's absolutely remarkable. It's awesome for group work. You're doing the brunt of the damage, and people are mopping up from behind you. If you don't want to sit around and do this to an elite, like, if you don't want to sit around and just whirlwind them to death, then you can just keep moving, and people will pick up the slack from behind you. And it's very quick. Like, I'm running this rift very quickly. This is actually slow for me. Normally the grouping's a little bit better with the mobs, and you can run a rift in under 5 minutes. Like, that's nothing. It's whatever. If you're not whirlwinding, another build I used to rock was the charge build, and that was an amazing build, but once you're one-on-one, you're pretty much screwed, because you're counting on the duplicative damage from your Vile Wards and from your other gear just to count the amount of enemies that you hit to double your damage, right? So one-on-ones, like your Rift Guardian, it was very difficult just to make it through, so you kind of needed a group. That's why I like this build, is that it finally lets the Barbarian go ahead and be independent and run things by themselves.
The Rift Guardian has arrived.
With Wrath of the Berserker popped, you're going to be doing close to 2.5 mil. So it's basically going to almost double your damage. I'm doing 1.5 without it popped, and almost 2.5 with it popped. So it'll give you like an extra mil on top of what you're doing, which is awesome. Like, it's wicked. It makes the world a difference. There it is. We can go back to town and recap on what we just did there. So like you saw, basically we're just gonna whirlwind through everything, and if you're in a group, like I said, just whirlwind and don't care about what's behind you, what you leave behind, because no matter what you leave behind, the group will pick it up. It'll have barely any health left, and you're a monumental member of the group because you're just absolutely destroying everything in your path, and it's fantastic. Some people will get pissed and say, oh, well, you're just running ahead and, you know, you're not really fucking helping and whatever, but it's not, just don't pay attention to that. Fuck them. They're just jealous because you have a sick-ass barbarian and they're running around with the same old witch doctor that they've had since launch, so that's what you're going to want to use. Recap, you're going to want the set of the wastes and 3 set or 2 set at least of Immortal Kings. The reason why you want to shoot for 3 set is reduce the cooldown of Wrath of the Berserker and Call of the Ancients 3 seconds for every 10 Fury you spend. So you're literally always in Wrath of the Berserker, and it makes you that much more unstoppable. Alright, well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you liked it. If you think this could help out any of your friends, feel free to share it. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see in upcoming videos in the comments below. Yeah, feel free to contact me. Thanks for watching. King Kunta out.